This portrait is Mr. Nile Rogers, who came to prominence in the 1970s with his band called Chic, disco band, and who subsequently went out of fashion. There was a movement in America apparently called Disco Sucks, which was the kind of redneck rockers who took a dislike to the sort of high camp disco music, and it put him out of a job temporarily. He went on to do production with various people and has had remarkable longevity in the music industry. I love this shot because you can see the glint in his eyes. And to this day, I haven't seen a single shot of Nile that looks anything, is remotely similar to this. But I just asked him. When we did the picture, it was quite late at night, and it was shot outside, just against a white backdrop with a ring flash and a couple of other lights. And I was really keen to get a picture of Niall, and he was very agreeable. So he was kind of swinging the dreadlocks around, and we're getting a bit of movement into it, and I just asked him to do this. So he pulled it across, but you can see he's still smiling. There's a lovely twinkle in the eyes. But this was done pre-COVID. It looks like I've done it as a comment on the COVID situation, as was, with people wearing masks all the time. But this was actually done before anybody was any the wiser about COVID. But but he went on to work with Duran Duran. Quite famously, he produced David Bowie's Let's Dance album. He met David in a jazz club in New York, I believe, and they got chatting about jazz, and David asked him to produce his next album because he was very keen to get some hits. And I don't know if that turned out to be a double-edged sword, because he certainly did get some hits, and Bowie found himself performing in huge stadiums, which was not his thing at all. I think he felt quite out of place compared to what he was used to. But the Let's Dance album was phenomenally successful. In fact, there's a story that Niall tells about when they were producing China Girl. Bowie had this song that I think he'd written quite a few years before with Iggy Pop. And Niall went away and was trying to get an introduction to this. And there was a song by Chic, I believe, or was it? No, maybe it wasn't. But he came up with the famous and he presented it to David Bowie the next day, thinking this could either be my career with David over, or he might love it. And of course, he turned out he actually loved it. This little kind of sort of Chinese-sounding riff that he'd produced. But the one thing that he said to David was, "I always start with a hit, with the hook." So he said, "I don't build up with verses." He said, "If you listen to my songs, Freak Out starts with, Freak Out." So he starts with the hook. So this was a revelation, I think, to David Bowie. He said, "I never start with the hook," but that's what they did. So if you listen to some of the songs that are on that album, I'm sure I think it's Let's Dance. He starts with the first words he said out of his mouth are, "Oh, let's dance." And not sounding like that, obviously. But so that was that. And he's also gone on to produce, as I say, Duran Duran, Madonna he worked with, Pharrell Williams, Daft Punk, an incredibly busy, in-demand producer, songwriter, musician, and fabulous guy as well. I think when he arrived in Edinburgh, where this was taken, I was expecting an entourage of people and bodyguards. None of it. He just wandered around on his own, enjoyed the city, and it was a great pleasure to take this photograph. I still love it.